Christa Chambers has 25 years of real estate capital market experience as an owner, investor, lender, and developer across multiple property types. In her current role as Vice President of Capital Markets for Ryan Companies, Christa leads the sourcing, negotiation, and closing of equity and debt, as well as leading dispositions for Ryan's development projects and acquisitions in the Western region. Christa is also on the advisory board for the UW's Runstad Department of Real Estate. Hello, Christa. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yes, Christa, thanks. Really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. All right, let's dive into the questions. So can you share a little bit about your background and how you came to be involved with the Runstad Advisory Board?
Sure. I mean, I think I had always been aware of the school and the program, and had a lot of colleagues go through the program. And then I think probably really became aware of the board probably maybe about 5 years ago when I was working for an employer in Bellevue, and we did a presentation to the class and spent some time with students after the class. And I was in a position of hiring there and my next positions, and always wanted to recruit from the school. And I'm currently, I'm in capital markets, so finance. I've been through a few different roles, but I do debt and source joint venture equity, and then run sales of our properties. I'm currently at Ryan Companies.
Great. Can you share a little bit more about your role and kind of what your trajectory's been over the course of your career?
Sure. I don't know if I'd call it a trajectory because it just kind of happened organically, and by making choices along the way that turned out to be the right choices sometimes, and choices where I learned and others. But I got out of college and I went right into, I worked for the government, the federal government, as a federal bank examiner, and did that for 4 years. And I think what I learned, I mean, at a very young age, I was presenting, audit findings to boards of directors, to small community banks in Washington and California, Hawaii, and Alaska. So I was kind of thrown to the wolves, so to speak. And then there comes a point when you work for the government that the golden handcuffs get snapped on, and I wanted to leave before that happened. And so I went into banking and found my way into commercial real estate, and really enjoyed that because I really enjoyed working with commercial real estate developers, and all very interesting people and risk takers. And so I did that, did lending, and then I went on to manage the region. And then about a little more than 6 years ago, one of the clients asked me if I'd like to, come and try being their CFO. And I actually, they called, and I thought they were calling for a referral to find a replacement for their CFO, and it turned out they wanted me. And I remember just hanging up the phone and being like, why do they need me? Why would they want me? I'm not qualified. And then I remembered, that I'd always thought, you have to go on what you can learn, not what you're qualified to do. And I knew I could learn it. So I went there, and I was a chief financial officer at this big company in Bellevue that owns a lot of hotels and a big shopping mall, and really enjoyed that. We financed everything and managed big teams of people. And then we were kind of done with the big project on the financial side, and with kind of more day-to-day management. And I was, just kind of wondering what I wanted to do next when another former client of the bank kind of came along and gave me an opportunity to come to a different type of company. So moving from a family, decades long, never sell family business, to a company that was a short-term hold and focus on acquisitions of office properties in Seattle and Bellevue and Portland and Dallas. And at this role, the title is Chief Operating Officer. So I was, attracted by the title, felt really good, and also was going to be over finance. And, I got there and I learned so much. I did HR. I redid the website, I redid the branding. We started a property management company while I was there. Learned a lot, did a lot of finance and private equity raises, and worked with institutional partners. But it was really like, probably 80% of my job was the O part of chief operating officer. And I just learned I really liked the financial side, so kind of my core, where I went into right after college, turned out to be really what I love to do. So now I went to work for this, luckily, went to work for a company that I know, which is a partner of the firm I was at. And now it's a national, it's kind of the perfect blend of all my experiences. That it's a very large company. We just surpassed 3 billion in annual revenue, but it's family owned, 8 decades. But it has a very, corporate feel, and they're very deliberate about making it corporate. And so it's a similar experience than working for like the bank, for example. So that was a long answer.
No, that was great. Almost sounds like a full circle moment, coming back to sort of where you started.
Kind of is.
So, you've been working in the industry for a while. The region's changed quite a bit. What have you seen change over the years, and what do you think are some of the potential changes, or what do you see for your future?
Well, that's a good question. So you mentioned, like come full circle, and it's kind of true in that I also learned through the process, there's managing, and there's mentoring, and there's leading, and there's coaching. And I enjoy leading. I think leading, coaching, and mentoring is where I want to focus, and less of the managing. And I feel that is, I've always been comfortable in management roles, in the strategic side of that. I really enjoy. I think managing a people is where I prefer to coach and mentor. And so I guess, for the second half of my career, if I'm lucky enough to live, 30 more years, would be, to really focus more on that mentoring in a kind of an intentional way. And I feel like we finally have momentum to do that. And so, I really want to mentor people that are disadvantaged and maybe don't have the access to commercial real estate, since it has been historically a very, close-knit community. Fathers pass it down to sons, and we all recruit from the same colleges, and we all have similar experiences and look the same. So I'm really would like to pick the momentum up from this year, and try to facilitate more change in terms of like diverse people in the field.
That's really great, because I think you hit on a key thing. It really is exposure. If young people don't have the exposure to the possibilities that are in the market, how do they know, what could be available to them, or what might align with their skills?
Right, exactly.
Great. Well, you've done quite a bit, and you have a lot of work experience in the real estate industry. Outside of that, do you have a favorite book, charity, hobby? What's another passion of yours?
Yeah, so I do have a favorite charity. I'm on the Northwest chapter of the MS Society, and I'm very excited about that. I've served on several boards, and this is the first one. I have a direct connection to my family, and so I'm very passionate about it. And I'm looking to recruit people for our Bike MS team at any time, and trying to launch a national team for our company this year. And separately, my favorite book seems like it's always the last book that I read, and it was really timely. It's with my kind of neighborhood book club. It's called Factfulness: 10 Reasons Why the World is Better Than You Think It Is, and it's by a Swedish scientist who, I think he just passed away a few years ago, focused on global health. And it just kind of gives you skills for looking at what you think are facts, and analyzing them, and things like world poverty, and education for women, and stats like that, a different way of looking at them that shows that we've actually come pretty far from even just like 10 years ago. So, and hobbies, I think I need some more hobbies, because I feel like I need more hobbies than what I don't run anymore, but I like to be active.
Good. I feel like I need to cut back on hobbies because of all the schoolwork I have. I have too many hobbies, it feels like at times.
Yeah, I feel like my hobby is work right now because I don't have time for much anything else, unfortunately.
Yeah, so if people wish to connect with you, how is the best way for them to do so?
So they can connect with me on LinkedIn or, through the school and get access my work email is the best way to reach me.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure to hear kind of your story and your passions and what you're doing. And thanks for your contribution to the advisory board as well.
Sure. Thanks for asking me to do this.